months ago, we had the chief executive of Olasan, and he was telling us about the search for an Irish candidate to join the team which will fly the first manned space vehicle of the European Space Agency. Well, he's back to tell us about the winners, or maybe I should say the survivors, of a very rigorous selection process. So welcome back, Jim McBride. Jim, welcome. Sit yourself down here, please. Jim, first of all, how many people responded to your plea?
Well, the first response, Pat, was after the ad, and we had 700 inquiries.
Okay, people who thought maybe this could be for me.
Yeah. So
how many of them actually filled in forms then?
Just over half, 352.
Okay.
The first part of the selection process then was vetting the application forms, and that took it down to 250.
Okay, so most of them were reasonably serious in terms of qualification and experience.
Indeed they were, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. They were first-class applications, and it was, as you know, you called it the mother of all forms last time we talked about it. They had to give a lot of details about themselves. So an examination of the forms took it down to 250. Then the next stage of the process, which was an aptitude test and a preliminary medical test, that took it down to 46.
Ooh, so 200 went by the wayside because of little
exactly.
health problems or fitness problems or things like that.
And then the final stage was getting it down. We got it down then to 10 and finally to 4.
The 4. And we have the 4 with us tonight. Will you welcome them, please? We have, in the order in which they will come down the steps, Dr. Ciarán Bolger, who is a senior house surgeon at Bolger Hospital. Dr. Deirdre McMahon. Yes, join us here, Deirdre. And then 2 captains. Captain William Butler with Aer Lingus and Captain Kevin Barry. Okay, how do you feel to be so special? Out of 700 people who wrote off, you're down to the last 4.
Marvellous, great feeling. Very pleased to have been one of the few chosen, and it's a great privilege. I'm looking forward to representing our country, I think.
Well, we've 2 docs and 2 flyers. Deirdre, is there any difference in where you might end up in a space program because you're medical people and the other guys are flyers?
There is the European Space Agency. They're looking for about 4 flyers and about 6 what they call mission specialists. The 2 doctors and the 2 pilots would fall into different categories, so we're not actually competing against each other.
You're not actually competing. The 2 here are not competing against the 2 there, right?
Not at this stage.
Not so far.
Not so far. William, what prompted you to apply for this?
I was always fascinated with space ever since the Apollo moonshots, and followed it ever since. And it's a dream to have an opportunity to go for it. It really is the ultimate.
Yeah, you really wanted to be an astronaut or a cosmonaut.
Well, I suppose I'd love to be one. We never really thought it was possible, and it's only when this came about that there's actually a possibility of going for it,
Yeah. What about you, Kevin? Is it every Air Corps man's dream to get up a little bit higher than you're able to at the moment?
I doubt that, no, but myself, I've always wanted it, but in Ireland it was just never seemed possible, because it just wasn't there. So the next thing for me was to join the Air Corps, really,
Okay. You're a married man. What did herself think when you suggested this might be on the horizon?
First of all, she thought I was a lunatic.
Yeah.
Then she said, well, you've done other things before, why not this? So I think she's fully behind me now,
Yeah. What about the rest of you? William?
Well, my wife always knew it was my dream, and when the chance came, she supported me just to go for it.
Did she think that, when you said, I'd love to be an astronaut, it's...
I don't think she thought it would end up here, no.
Now, Deirdre, you are married too. You've got 4 children.
That's correct.
Your responsibility. Age from what to what?
I have 2 older stepchildren. They're 17 and 15, and 2 small fellas, they're 4 and 2.
Okay, reaction from them, first of all.
Well, I suppose the teenage stepchildren are at the age where they could be mildly embarrassed in front of all their school friends, but they're really all very pleased, and the 2 young ones, they haven't a clue.
They don't know what's going on at all.
No idea at all.
Yeah.
Just
but the olders, they'd be slightly embarrassed. What's mother up to?
That's that kind of thing. Her mother's faces in the media. What is she up to? Don't be letting down the family name.
What made you want to do this?
Like all of us, I think I was inspired by the Apollo moonshots back in the 60s. Grew up wanting to be an astronaut when the other children wanted to be footballers or anything kind of more reasonable than an astronaut. But the fascination with space has stayed with me all my life, and I'm really glad to be getting this chance.
And when you saw the ad in the papers, did you leap at it and say, yes, this is my moment, and if I don't do it, I'll only have myself to blame?
It was physically leaping whenever I saw it. I was delighted. I was very surprised, first of all. I didn't think that there would be any chance for an Irish person to get into space, but it just was an opportunity that just couldn't be passed out.
Yeah. How about you, Karen?
I thought it was an April Fool's joke because the closing date was actually for in April, and then when I realised it was true, well, the first thing I had to do was tell my wife, and I got the same reaction that Kevin got, I think. Only my wife knows I'm a lunatic, she doesn't just think it. But she settled down then, I settled down and started to think about it serious, and really then when we got into the last 46 stage, that's when really began to believe, well, maybe this is possible.
And she indulged you so far, but as you got that close, was there a change in attitude?
No, I think it got more serious about, well, what does it mean, you know, will we have to move and that, which isn't really a problem with me because my career anyway in medicine, we were going to emigrate anyway, so it's not really a problem from that point of view, you know. Okay.
Now, you've been through a whole pile of tests. What was the worst moment for you, Kevin?
I think the second stage of the motion sickness test was the worst for me.
What was involved there?
They put you in this chair and you rotate approximately 180 degrees per second, and you have to move your head up and down to these beeps. The first set was about 8 30-second rotations, and then the second set, which I did, was 2 minutes at 150 degrees, and then 2 3-minute sessions at 180 degrees.
Right. What time of the day did you do this at?
Just after breakfast.
Was there a parting between you and your cornflakes?
Well, the second, third session there was, yeah. Followed by an immediate recovery period and back in again. So
back in again, and you came through that with flying colours. If that's not too graphic a description.
It's all yellow.
Yeah. There's no carrots anyway.
Yeah. William, what about you? Was that the worst moment for you?
It's the same as Kevin, I think, when they start to slide over the bucket. You know, that's when the truth, the moment of truth, as they say.
The moment of truth. Yeah. And yet you guys have been through that sort of thing in your training, particularly you, Kevin, I suppose.
That surprised me. I didn't realise. I actually went in feeling great, you know, and then
I can handle this.
Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah. Deirdre, what about you? I hear that you managed to hang on to the prunes or whatever you'd had.
Well, you don't want to boast, but being the mere woman, I managed to hold on to the muesli. That was obviously the secret I didn't disclose to my other fellow candidates, so I did the whole run, but there was no credit in it, and they'd have to pay me money to get me to do it again.
Was that the worst thing for you?
It was. Also the anxiety waiting for the final selection to be announced. That was very worrying.
Now, you had very rigorous medical testing, and
that's right.
You, being a doctor, would know about that. Were you surprised at anything they did?
Well, yes, not to be too polite, but certainly they were examining parts of the body that I didn't think were entirely essential for space flight, but they were all looked into carefully. And, I think we all passed those probes.
Yeah. Space probe.
Possibly.